hope you guys are doing good. It is mid-July and I wanted to do a tag for you guys today. I was tagged by Pat from Book Chat with Pat in the mid-year book freakout tag. Now, it's just a funny name. Nobody's freaking out. I don't actually have like super solid goals that I sort of guilt myself about if I don't complete, right? But I do have some things that I would like to keep up on. But this tag really actually doesn't address a whole lot about what you haven't read as much as it talks about what you have read. So it's really kind of just a mid-year wrap-up. There's 15 questions, so I'll get started. Number one is, what is the best book you've read so far this year? For me, that is Jane Austen's Bookshelf by Rebecca Romney. I actually just recently finished that and did a pretty lengthy talk about it on the video that I'm gonna put up here for you guys. I really got so much out of this book. Just introduced to so many authors. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit on another question, but I just thought it was well researched. It was written like interestingly, right? Like the author didn't make it just a sort of drab and boring documentary style, although I do love a good documentary. It was more just like a chatty sort of tone of voice and very relatable. You just jump right in, pick up where you left off. I just loved reading it so much, learned a ton of stuff. If you think you know everything there is to know about Jane Austen and her times, this is definitely the book for you. You won't just get one or two tidbits of information. You will be just fire hose in your face with new information. I really enjoyed it a lot. So that is my best book so far this year. Number two, what is the best sequel that you've read so far? So I don't really read a lot of series. In fact, I've only read books from 2 series so far this year. But so far, my favorite series is the Emma M. Lyon series by Beth Brower. I am just getting ready. You can probably see that yellow book back there. I'm getting ready to jump into volume 3. I just got that yesterday from Amazon and I'm really enjoying those. So I guess technically I've only read 1 sequel, but I've read 2 of the books in this series and they're just really fun. I'll get into a little bit more about those in another question as well. Number 3, new release you haven't read yet, but want to. So I actually already did read the new release that I was waiting on. I was waiting on The Rushworth Family Plot by Claudia Gray. This is number 4 in the Mr. Darcy and Miss Tilney series. It's a series about a couple of sleuths. The boy, Mr. Darcy, is the son of Fitzwilliam Darcy and Elizabeth Bennet. And then the girl sleuth is Juliet, and she is the daughter of Henry and Catherine Tilney from Northanger Abbey. So these two just keep getting thrown into societal situations where they end up solving mysteries together. And they have a very good friendship. And so I was really looking forward to this. And I actually just finished this last night. But for something that I'm looking forward to that I haven't read yet, I don't really keep up on new releases very well, but I am interested in the books by Jill Hornby, and I know that she does have a new release out, so maybe the Jill Hornby books? You guys will have to let me know if you think that those are books that I will like. I've heard others talk good about them, but you know, you never know. Number 4, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So again, I don't keep up very well. So I did do a little digging to try to see if there was something coming up that looked interesting to me. There is a book called The Queens of Crime by, I want to say Melanie Benjamin, but I think I always get, no, Marie Benedict. Yeah, I get those 2 mixed up, maybe just because they have the same initials. And so it's supposed to be like a sort of true story, but I don't know how far into truth the book goes, or if it just kind of, you know, sort of like plunges off from just one truthful starting point. But I guess it's like Dorothy Sayers, Agatha Christie, the Baroness Orczy, and 2 other female crime writers of the 20th century. and they all joined together to solve a crime together, and apparently part of it's true. I'm not exactly sure, but I just kind of saw it for a sec and thought maybe I might be interested in that. And then there was another one, Geraldine Brooks. She's putting out a memoir, and it's talking about her like grief process, and after losing her partner, very suddenly he passed away. And the book talks about how, like, in American culture, we don't really take a whole lot of time to just go off somewhere and grieve, and I guess in other cultures they do. And so she basically takes some time off and goes to grieve, which is what you can do when either your culture is okay with it or you have the finances to do so, I guess. So great for her that she was able to do that. But she goes and just kind of lives a solitary life for a little while and researches the grieving practices of other cultures. And so I thought that might be interesting. I don't know if it's something that I will want to read right now, or if I will want to read later on down the road, because I have been in kind of like this revolving state of various levels of grief for about 3 years now, since losing my dad. And we lost my father-in-law, we lost our dog of like 14 years. Then we just had some like family kind of breakup stuff happen. And now I have lost a couple of sort of like, not distant, but you know, just outside the immediate family members, with my aunt just passing away. I learned last week that my older half brother, who I've never actually met in person but did communicate a little bit online, I learned that he passed away. And so I'm just kind of like not all the way in a stage of grief where it's shutting me down, but I'm in just kind of this perpetual, just kind of this little, not black cloud, not gray cloud, but just sort of an off-white cloud sort of over me now and then. So anyway, I feel like I want to get out of that before reading a book on grief, but it did sound interesting. And I think that it's one that I might just want to get and just sort of set away for a time, right? All right, that was kind of TMI, sorry guys. Number 5. Biggest disappointment. That would definitely be Piranesi. I just heard one of my Booktube friends talking about kind of being excited about reading Piranesi here soon, and I'm listening to the video while I'm sewing, and the whole time I'm like, don't do it, don't, you'll hate it, it's not what you think, don't do it. And I know that Piranesi got a lot of good praise, and I was really excited about it. I got it as a gift from my husband in December, and it was one of my first reads of the year. I was so excited, and it just was such a flop. It was not good at all. I really didn't enjoy it. So, but I know a lot of people do, so hey. But anyway, that was probably my biggest disappointment, just because I was really excited about it. But then also, really, this book I just showed you, the Rushworth Family Plot, this one, it was kind of disappointing too, and I will talk more in detail in my next weekly wrap up, but it's just, there are elements of this story that have been drug out way too long, and I'm not the only one that thinks this. And while it still has over a 4-star rating on Goodreads, there are a lot of people who are giving that 4-star or 5-star rating and then saying some of the same things that I've been saying, which is the books drag on quite a while, and the side story, if you've been reading this, you know what we've all been waiting for, is dragging on way too long. It's starting to seem really contrived as far as trying to make this drag across. Are we going across 6 books? Like, what are we doing here? So it was kind of disappointing, but it probably wouldn't have been had I not have been anticipating things to happen that have not happened yet. There you go, there's a spoiler, sorry. All right, number 6, biggest surprise. Okay, the biggest surprise. This was Prince of the Pauper by Mark Twain. Now, this wasn't like one of my best reads so far this year by any means, but as far as a surprise, definitely, because I had only really read like Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn, which is just not my stories at all. I just have never been into them, did not enjoy them as a kid, and had to read them multiple times, did not love them. And then I just have this like issue with Mark Twain. I think I just don't like him as a personality, but I did put that on my children's classic reading challenge for this year. And so I read it and I was pleasantly surprised. It is a really sweet book. It has happy parts, sad parts, like there's some depth there, there's some good history. It's a really great story. So I'm glad I read it. My daughter is actually reading his Joan of Arc book right now, and she's just about done. I think she's going to be done like the week after next. And so when she is done with that, I'm going to put it on my TBR because I'm like, okay, maybe there's some hope here. Maybe I just need to read something that has a little bit of history in it. Number 7, favorite new author. That would be Beth Brower, the author of the Emma M. Lyons series. I really like her. I like the storytelling voice that she has. They're really great stories. And a lot of my other higher rated reads this year are by authors that I already knew about. So she's a new one to me. Number 8, newest fictional crush. Okay, so that would be Mr. Tilney from Northanger Abbey. Now, I've read Northanger Abbey a zillion times, so it's not like it's a new, concept to me. But yesterday, my oldest daughter and I watched the 1987 Northanger Abbey with Peter Firth and Catherine Schlesinger, and it's so corny. It's really, really cheesy version. But one of the things that I love about the version is Mr. Tilney, like, he can seem really creepy and weird until you understand that he is just playing her game with her. She is so into the idea of, the scary haunted house and the ghosts and the all the things that she had been reading about in Anne Radcliffe's books and others. She's so into that. She so much wants to find a mystery, a story. If a girl cannot find adventure in her hometown, then she must seek it abroad. And Mr. Tilney sees that in Kathy, and he just plays right into it. He does the spooky voice. He brings up the scary things. He creates some tension and some suspense, and it's all for her benefit, right? He's older and wiser, and he gets her, and I love that. So I can't say that I'm necessarily crushing on Tilney, but that whole concept of finding someone who really understands you and will play your games with you and will, just do the whole imagination and do the whole whatever it is that just makes you feel like you're having a fantastic day, right? If you can find somebody who will do that alongside you, like, that's just wonderful. And I see that in Tilney. It reminds me of my oldest daughter. My oldest daughter has always reminded me of Kathy, and I even took her to England when she was 15, which is a little bit younger than when Catherine got to go to Bath. And my daughter, we did the costumed promenade in Bath, and so we all wore Regency era clothing, and she was Catherine Morland, and just the whole thing, it was just that innocent, everything is amazing, everything is awe-inspiring, and deep breath worthy, and all these things, and so just to imagine her finding someone like that who would just get her, that would be fantastic. All right, number 9, newest favorite character. That would be Emma M. Lyon again. If Jane Austen were a Victorian, Emma M. Lyon is who she could be. If I were a Victorian, I can imagine being like Emma M. Lyon. She's really no nonsense. She's very sort of, okay, this needs to be done, I'm gonna do it. Take charge, curious, but not at all naive. And I think that is really what is really endearing me to her. This girl could do anything, no problem. I don't know, I just really, really like Emma Emilian a lot. I wish that I could read through the books faster, but I started out buying the hardback series, which I'm happy that I did. And so they're like $25 a piece. Well, when I started buying them, they're like $20 a piece, and now they're $25. So I'm having to buy like one a month just to be able to justify all the other books that I want to buy every month. So anyway, I bought my monthly Emma, and slowly but surely I'll get through them. Number 10, a book that made you cry. Now, this would be Tempest at Annabelle's Lighthouse by Jamie Jo Wright. It's not a sad book, but some of the themes in it really hit home. A lot of the story is centered around the female main character who is just kind of dissatisfied with her life, but mostly with her marriage. She finds her husband to be boring, and their, life is just very dull, and she wants more. She's like, I think she like just hit 30, so she's kind of in that, stage that people, sorry if you're 30s or haven't gone through it yet, beware. But, just kind of that grass must be greener somewhere else stage that women tend to go through about that time. And so she, her husband will do anything for her. He's a great guy. She's just bored with him. But one of the things that he does do for her, which really like stabbed me in the heart, was at one point he calls her out, and he's like, she's talking about self-care and how she just needs self-care. And he's like, self-care is one thing. Self-indulgence is a completely different thing. And he just really takes some time and some words to point out her selfishness and just the way she's taking so many things for granted. And I just love that. And it really did. It made me very emotional. Several parts in this book just made me think about my own sense of self-importance and just self-centeredness. I have a large family, I have a lot of responsibilities, and so my actions can rarely be self-centered and self-focused, right? I have to do stuff for people. But my heart and my words and my mentality can often be really self-centered and just sort of bitter sometimes, right? If I'm not careful to keep it in check. And so while I haven't really felt like I've been that person, lately, like especially in my 40s, I kind of grew up a little bit, but just remembering and feeling sad for the times that I wasted and the way that I sort of took my husband for granted, that definitely made me sad. Number 11, a book that made you happy. All right, that would be Jane Austen's bookshelf. I think that I was just so excited to learn so much and just have this whole new pile of, authors and stories to read. She doesn't just, you're not just made aware of these 8 authors that she talks about in the book. There are tons and tons of sort of rabbit trails you can go down. And I ended up finding a book. It just arrived in the mail. It's behind me and I haven't even opened it yet. You know what? Let's just open that real quick. Hold on. Okay. I had to take a minute and take the sticker, the gigantic sticker off of, I don't get people, off of the title front. It's a library sticker. To put some tape over that. But I don't get why they cover like the title with, and then like they cut out the dust jacket. Don't do this, guys. Don't do this to nice books. Come on. Okay, anyway, this book is called Mothers of the Novel by Dale Spender. The subtitle of this book is 100 Good Women Writers Before Jane Austen. Hello. So that is really a huge thing. I mean, that's huge, right? Like, it's not just the ones that Rebecca Romney talks about in detail. We've got like another 100 right here. We're going to be reading these 16th, 17th, 15th, whatever century authors for the rest of our lives. So it just made me really happy, right? Because I don't really like reading modern stuff, and I'm just thinking, I'm also really picky about classics. You know, there's certain people, Samuel Richardson, who I just will never read. So I gotta pick stuff even out of, you know, the canon and the classics list and chuck it away. Mark Twain. So to have this book full of 100 good women authors before Jane Austen, this author, or like her people, they actually started publishing. They were going to publish 100 books by these different women authors. That was kind of in the plan, and then I think, according to Rebecca Romney, they only got like 20 done. I ended up finding one on Paperback Swap, and it should be coming here soon. Anyway, that book made me really happy because it just gave me, you know, just a whole, it's like just opened a door, and I'm just excited to seek out all of these lesser known, little known, totally forgotten authors. Number 12, favorite book to film adaptation that you saw this year. I don't watch a whole lot of films. My husband and I have been watching the Poirot series on Amazon. We are actually just about done watching those. We've been watching those for maybe a year, close to it. So I've watched several Poirots that are book adaptations, obviously, because it's Agatha Christie's detective. And I've watched a couple that I've read, or read a couple that I've watched. And I guess the only other thing that I've watched this year was Northanger Abbey that I watched yesterday with my daughter, which, like I said, the 1987 version is so cheesy, but it does play a lot on the idea of it being, of Northanger Abbey being a satire directed at Gothic novels of the time and the people who just got so freaked out about them and all this stuff. And so it is a fun version. I've never seen any other version. My daughter tells me that the other one with whoever, the newer one, is better or good also, I guess. Just good in different ways. And so I might watch it, I don't know. But anyway, that's it. I haven't watched a whole lot. Number 13, favorite review you've written this year or Booktube video that you've done so far this year. And that was hard for me to pick out. My reviews are usually, like, if I write in length about a book, it's usually a negative review. On my positive reviews, I'm usually just like, this was great, you know, bye. But on my negative ones, I usually go on and on for a while on my like written Goodreads reviews. So I guess it's not very nice to talk up a negative review. But on my book videos, I guess maybe the ones I've been putting out recently where I have added video from my most recent trip to England, those have been pretty fun to put together and obviously fun to watch and relive, and you know, needles and pins until I can go back again. So if you guys haven't checked those out, maybe look. Everything that I've put out since like mid-June should have some kind of England video attached to it. The keyword for this video is Susan, and with that we'll go into number 14, which is the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. For me, that would be 3 more of the Cranford collection. My daughter has been buying these for me, my second in-line daughter. And for Mother's Day, she got me these 3. This one is Lady Susan, The Watsons and Sanditon by Jane Austen. The Secret Garden, Frances Hodgson Burnett. And The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. These are so beautiful. I have 2 others that are the rose and purple color. So, you know, like on my shelf, we got purple right here, we got rose over here, we got green in the middle. It just looks really beautiful. And if you are not yet aware, I'm doing a giveaway for the month of Jane. And if you are not yet aware, I'm doing some giveaways at the end of this month for Jane Austen July. You need to check out the giveaway video that I will put up here for you guys, and it will give all the instructions on how to enter that giveaway. One of the prizes is a copy of this. I ended up picking up one while I was in England, and so I got one of these for one of the giveaway prizes. I've got another book and some like just all kinds of different Jane themed things. You know, even if you are not in the US, you can still enter this because I got some flat things too. I got like some stickers, bookmarks, postcards, all things that are like Jane and cottagey sort of themed. And so there's a prize package for anyone in the world. If you end up being a winner, check out that video and make sure that you follow all of the instructions for each of my July videos, and so that you can have as many opportunities as possible to be in the drawing. All right, last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, I don't really definitely going to do this thing and like guilt myself if I don't. So I'm not really that kind of a reader. I'm mostly a mood reader, but I do make goals because I feel like it helps me to stay kind of on track. It kind of helps me to just stay in a good reading rhythm. It helps me to participate in things with other readers and other booktubers, and just kind of, I don't know, it's just fun, you know, to sort of do a themed read or whatever, like this month being Jane Austen July. I'm reading lots of Jane Austen. I don't have to, I just am. And so I made a goal of certain books I wanted to read, right? So things like that. So I thought I would talk a little bit about just what my plans are for the rest of the year. So I am participating in my own book challenge, which is a children's classic read along. You guys can see the reading list for that at the Discord link below. This month I need to be reading A Little Princess by Frances Hodgson Burnett. That is the July read. And then, so I just have a book for each month. And so I'd like to finish those up. Then for the rest of July and all of August, I have made for myself kind of a summer school plan. And I'm progressing pretty well with that, especially given everything that I've had going on the last few weeks. You guys can see all about that in this video. And so hopefully by the end of August, I will have completed my goals there for my summer school reading plan. And then I will decide if I want to give myself a reading plan for the fall and winter as far as the schooling sort of thing goes, or if I have it out of my system and decide that I don't want to do that for a while, which is probably actually what's going to happen, because I think I'm needing a real no obligation season. All right, and then besides that, I like to do different monthly, participate in different monthly things. So for August, my friend Anne at In Search of Wonder is doing a prairie trail challenge. She is so great at making challenges, and it's a pretty elaborate, has a lot of different options and things you can do to earn points and all kinds of cool stuff. So I will put Anne's video below. You guys can check that out for August. I'm going to be doing that. For September, I don't really have solid plans. I know a lot of people read Shakespeare in September. I will probably do something with Shakespeare, but I also think isn't Sherlock Holmes in September also? I might do something Sherlock Holmes related. October is Victober, and that's where we read lots of Victorian literature. Definitely going to try to participate more in that this year, because last year I hardly did anything, and the year before that was the month I started my channel and I had no idea what I was doing. So I'd like to do more with Victober. November, I don't really know what is going on in November or December, but I do know that I have a massive stack of winter themed reads that I am going to be jumping into. I am just really looking forward to those cozy reads, and so I don't really have a solid plan, and like I said, nothing that absolutely has to be read, but I do have goals, obviously, that I would love to complete if possible and if I feel like it. Kind of think that this fall and winter is going to be a little bit more mood reading themed than maybe last year was, but that's okay. All right, and then the last prompt is to tag some people, which I will go around and see who has not yet been tagged and tag some people below. But if you want to do this and you've not been tagged, consider yourself tagged, and please make sure to tag me so that I can come back and watch your video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.